ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my really quick demo on dynamic spooky shadows in Unreal Engine 4. Fifth time's a charm. You'll have to pardon my voice. I'm dealing with allergies. The curse of Las Vegas. Some of these shadows are not like the others. This shadow right here is a good old-fashioned shadow. It's exactly what we would expect. It rides up the landscape as expected, interacts with the foliage as it should, and it casts across the player as we expect a shadow would do. This is entirely dynamic lighting, so this is nothing special. This light, well, over here, first off, that shadow does not go to that object, and that is because that is a fake shadow. If I step on it, I get a scary sound effect, and then something bad happens that I'm still designing. Maybe some particle effects, maybe something horrible reaches out and grabs you. Over here by the pumpkin is another fake shadow, and if I step in that, there we go. But you'll see that it also interacts with the foliage, as a shadow should. It casts across that pumpkin. Some of these shadows are real, and some of them are not. It is possible to tell the difference if you really get up there and look at them, but from a distance, if a player is jumping and running and puzzle solving and all those things that players love to do when they're playing games, they're not paying attention to the subtle differences in the shadows. And that is enough to catch them unawares. Here is one more shadow, and then I will show you how I am pulling that off. If I come over here and simulate my level, what is actually going on is that these are rotating decals. So let me go ahead and grab this one. These are rotated by time of day. You see they're casting on the foliage and up hills. They're playing nice with the other shadows that are real. They're, for the most part, the same as the other shadows. And that's because really all a shadow is, in its simplest form, is it's black being cast across the landscape, which is exactly what a decal is designed to do. It casts something across a surface. So you get a similar type of effect. The shadow is moving because I am filming the shadow over here on light channel 2. So if I hit play, there is a tree that is hidden here that is rotating, and I have a hidden shadow, or at least the tree is not actually, I'm not using the hidden shadow trick. It's just not being rendered in the main pass. And you see, as the light goes around, it casts a pretty convincing shadow here. This shadow is picked up by a scene capture component, which is rotating around this point. And it is rotating around the point to keep this shadow always in frame right here. So if I were to take this and rotate this, let's say, backwards bit by 45 degrees, and rotate this back by 45 degrees, you'll see that the tree, or the tree's shadow, remains exactly in this box. The reason that I do that instead of pulling the 2D capture all the way back and just capturing the whole thing and just projecting it on the ground is because that is a very large decal, first off. And if I'm going to do that with a whole bunch of trees, that's wasteful, when I only really need to project this portion right here. On top of that, it is a lot of data, and I only have so much room in this, I only have so much room in here. So I've got 2048 by 2048. I'm only using the red channel. The other channels are really unnecessary. I just need one. If I were to move all of them, that would be a lot of excess data. So I use red. I make sure that the shadow fills up as much of it as possible, and that's how I get the highest resolution shadow in the capture that I can. If I were to pull that back, I would either be wasting extra data, or I would end up with something that looks a lot clunkier than the surrounding shadows and would not convince a player. So this is set as RTF R8. If I come back here to the shadow decal, you'll see I'm pulling off of the red from the capture. I'm doing a really quick job here of trying to get it from black to white, and then I put that into the opacity. 1 minus, of course, to flip the colors around, or rather the levels around, so it becomes white on black. If I pop that open, you'll see that's the effect. That's what I want for opacity. And the color information is just black. The color information is not necessary. Feed that in through the decals over here. Let's see here. Where did I put that? There's my shadow decal. My viewport. Never mind. But if I come back here, and hit play, there we go. There's my rotating shadows. And because I'm repeating the same tree over and over again at the same scale throughout the game, I don't have to have a whole bunch of them. Now, if I wanted to do something like a treasure chest or a light post that's haunted and do the same thing, I could certainly do that, but it's going to come at the cost of either switching out the figure that's casting the shadow on channel 1, or I'm sorry, on channel 2, or it's going to require having a bunch of those running at once. I have not tested this out yet at high resolution and benchmarked it and figured out how much that's going to cost and whether that's feasible, but that's, I think, what I would end up having to do. So there we go. I will post another video on this as soon as I get some nice particle effects and something more scary than sound effects to jump out at a player. Thank you for watching my really quick demo on my attempt at living scary shadows in Unreal Engine 4.